This is a Transportation TV News Update. I'm Tony Dorsey reporting. Leading members of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee released what they call a blueprint for investment and reform. The plan would authorize $500 billion in federal spending for surface transportation over the next 6 years.
To shape the future, to reshape the Department of Transportation itself, restructure organizationally the department, restructure the programs within the department, combine, condense, consolidate, move from a highly prescriptive program to a performance and outcomes-based surface transportation program.
At the June 18th news conference in the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee meeting room, T&I Chair Jim Oberstar, Democrat from Minnesota, criticized an announcement earlier in the week from U.S. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood, expressing the Obama administration's desire to push back consideration of a long-term authorization measure and to instead focus on enacting interim funding for the Highway Trust Fund, which is expected to run out of money by the end of July. LaHood wrote in his statement June 17th, "I'm proposing an immediate 18-month highway reauthorization that will replenish the Highway Trust Fund. If this step is not taken, the trust fund will run out of money as soon as late August, and states will be in danger of losing the vital transportation funding they need and expect."
An 18-month bill, which is a temporary patch. We want a 72-month solution that creates jobs.
It is unacceptable. We are open to a negotiation with the White House, to discussion, but they have to come across the divide and talk with us. We are a separate, distinct, and independent body of government, co-equal with the executive branch, and we expect to have a partnership with them in shaping the future of transportation, but they have to come and talk with us.
Appearing separately at the news conference, Chairman of the Highways and Transit Subcommittee, Peter DeFazio, added his voice of opposition to LaHood's plan.
It isn't just 18 months. Come on, we're going to do it in a lame duck session of Congress after the next election. It's at least 2 years, more probably 3 or 4. And here's the other problem. They say, well, we're going to fund at the current level for 18 months. Well enough to continue to see deterioration, well enough we won't be able to begin to build a 21st century transportation infrastructure to be more competitive in the world. But even worse, no state can make a 2 or 3 year commitment for a major project, or let's even say an 8-year commitment like the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, with 18 months of funding.
We're going to do it together, one way or another.
Oberstar and Mica held up a shovel together to demonstrate bipartisan support for moving ahead with a full 6-year authorization bill sooner rather than later. According to the executive summary prepared by the committee, the bill is designed to reduce highway fatalities and injuries, relieve big city congestion and freight bottlenecks, provide transportation choices for commuters and travelers, limit the adverse effects of transportation on the environment, and promote public health and the livability of our communities. Committee leadership proposes authorizing $500 billion over the next 6 years for surface transportation, $337 billion for highways, $100 billion for mass transit, $50 billion for high-speed rail, and $13 billion for highway and motor carrier safety programs. How any of these spending levels would be paid for is not addressed in the blueprint. That task will fall to the House Ways and Means Committee. Several stakeholder groups, including the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, were invited to attend the news conference. John Horsley, AASHTO's executive director, congratulated Oberstar, Mica DeFazio, Tennessee Republican John Duncan, with the ranking minority member of the Highways and Transit Subcommittee, for their leadership in releasing the blueprint.
They are recommending consolidation of the program. That was our recommendation. They've also recommended reform. We embrace the idea of a performance-based system that reforms how the projects are selected and how they're delivered. So accountability for the taxpayer is something states like.
Oberstar predicted that once the bill passes over several hurdles, beginning with DeFazio's subcommittee, which will mark up the language in the bill, it could reach the House floor by the end of July. That's the Transportation News Update. I'm Tony Dorsey reporting.